Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start with the story of the worst passenger on the ship imaginable, who called himself a cruise critic. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Keep complaining? Enjoy your vacay in a construction site? This happened a long time ago when I worked on cruise ships. We always had D-heads from the internet forum Cruise Critic. This guy had printed a sign, "I am a cruise critic," and put it on his cabin door. Basically, these people expect special service and complain about absolutely everything to get free upgrades, drinks, or even a free cruise. As soon as he got on board, he complained about his cabin and was upgraded to a balcony suite to shut him up. It still wasn't good enough. He kept complaining that his TV reception wasn't crystal clear. We visited his cabin and saw no issue with the image. In fact, it was better than most TVs as it was close to the amplifier for that section. After replacing the TV anyway and explaining that we're tracking a geostationary TV satellite on a moving ship with a gyro-stabilized dish and millions of dollars of above and below deck equipment, he still kept complaining that his picture wasn't as clear as his TV at home. After 48 hours of him complaining and demanding a complimentary cruise, he was already cruising for free after complaining so much about his last cruise, we planned our revenge. When we knew he was at his allocated dining time, my AV team showed up in the cabin and gathered a team of engineers, fitters, and electricians. We stripped all of the wall and roof panels and pulled out all the AV wiring, dumping a buttload of dust everywhere before downing tools and calling it a day. After the guest and his wife returned after dinner and the show, he called the front desk, furious that his cabin had been turned into an uninhabitable construction site. It was explained to him that we listened to his demands and, as such, were rewiring his cabin to ensure he had crystal clear TV reception, just like he asked. He was advised it would take a few days, the rest of the cruise, as it's a complex job. He went quiet before asking to be moved to another cabin. He was moved to a cabin smaller than his original cabin and above the bow thrusters. He was not heard from again the rest of the cruise. And our second story. I'm so sorry I got in the way of you embezzling the McMoney. I worked at 2 McRestaurants. I'm not going to reveal which McRestaurants these may be, but you may work it out. The first was in my hometown before uni for 6 months. The second was in my uni's town for 18 months. The 2 McRestaurants had differing IT systems. One had an online system, the other just had paper, so I couldn't simply be transferred. I had to resign from one, get fast-tracked through application at the other, and the people who McTrained me had an easy few shifts. Lead up to being told what to comply to. Now, the first McRestaurant was very strict, but a bit too easygoing. I had good customer service, so was put on the tills every shift. I could combat every Karen with enough sarcasm and fake boomer humor to make them like me. When working on tills, the managers gave the till users their swipe cards so we could issue refunds quicker or delete an incorrect item on the order when a customer changes their mind 10 times. All is good. Each shift I walk in, count the McMoney, do my job, cash the McMoney, go home. I was almost always perfect to the penny. Until one shift, I noticed a coworker using my till during my break. When I cash the McMoney that shift, I'm down by like a $5 and a few pence. And I'm given a cash retrainer, disciplinary, and basically a pop quiz about cash handling. After doing so, I mention the other coworker to the manager, and he tells me it's my fault for not constantly supervising my till and for not locking my till during my break, which I didn't know I could do. He happily shows me. Cool and good. He's nice and even shows me the legal writing that says I cannot leave the till from counting to cashing unless the till is locked. I can comply with that. The night I'm finally forced to use this knowledge. A year later, new store, new managers, same legal stuff. I offer to take a coworker's shift so I can afford to eat next week and end up on a shift with a manager who's never asked me to go on till before, which is weird. I'm great with customers, and despite cooking McFood, this time, though, she was expecting the other worker but had already gotten the McMoney ready. I take it from her, count it, sign it off, and do my job. I start learning that she's working everyone hard while she picks her nails and checks her phone. After a while, she notices that we haven't had any orders for a little while and that I'm just standing there watching her procrastinate. Stop standing around and do your job. I am. We have no customers, so I can't serve anyone. She tells me to go get stock for the kitchen. What? I thought you wanted me to do my job. Yes, do your job. By the book, McManager? Yes. Okay, no problem. I'll stay by this till like it says in the book. Duh. I continue to stand there and she gets irate. Look, McManager, the only way I will leave this till is to go on my break. She rolls her eyes and leaves me alone. Yay. About an hour getting paid to chat with the customers and coworkers who are nearby the till. Eventually, I'm asked to go on my break, so I lock the till as per usual to do so. A coworker of mine, someone who used a flexible till next to mine while I was on break, a flexible till is signed off by the manager, said that while I was on my break, she came to the till, got angry tapping the screen for it to do nothing, and stormed off. When I came back from my break, I asked for her manager card. No, it's for managers only. And you're just a till boy today. Wow, okay. Is this an extended break? What? No, go do your job. I'll be able to if you give me the manager card so I can unlock your till and do my job. To be honest, you can supervise since it's your card. Again, she rolls her eyes, goes to the till with me, holds out her manager card, and I have to swipe it while she was still holding it because she wouldn't let it go. The screen becomes responsive again, and I unlock it. She seems to avoid me for the rest of the shift while I just chill since I wasn't too busy. I have time for a proper laugh with some customers, and I even have a drunken friend come in for a milkshake. She and I chat for a while and talk about the weird McManager. End of my shift, the McManager is suddenly very nice and sweet, offers to take my McMoney and count it up for me, and I can go home early. Haha, no. I'm paid to the minute, and I want to cover my own butt, so I count it myself. Not quite perfect, 3 pence over. I probably didn't give a few people their penny change when they walked away, but for a cash retrainer, it has to be plus or minus £1. I'm chill. It was satisfying to irritate her so much while I took the role of procrastinating away from her for that shift. I was grinning on my way home that I'd done everything as I should have and put a manager in her place. I even got a drunk friend buddy to walk home with. Turns out there was more to it. That was the most profitable Thursday evening in months. That evening was hundreds of quid more profitable. A little investigation had been carried out because of this. Then they noticed it was the first Thursday evening in months not to have a perfect to the penny cash amount. Then they noticed that it was me who signed it off, not the normal person. Then they noticed that the signature of the other person didn't match with her signature on other shifts. Far too much for it to be a coincidence. CCTV showed McManager to be taking the till's McMoney into the office on the usual worker's break every shift. I got in the way of it this time for doing just as I was told and doing my job by the book. Fired, of course. Fined, of course. Think she spent a small amount of time in prison, but now I see her cleaning the floor of the Colonel's Chicken restaurant across the street. Also, I probably would have trusted her to look after the till while I got stock if she hadn't been so rude. And our last story. Jerk uncle got what he deserved. Backstory. About 12 years ago, I met my uncle for the first time. Let's call him AU for A-hole uncle. He introduced himself to me by literally pushing my dad out of the way and telling me that I was a fat little girl and telling me I should lose some weight. As this was a fairly common thing for me to hear, I just brushed it off. My grandma and grandpa lived in Spain, and the house they owned was fairly large and out of the way, and therefore worth a fair amount. A couple of years ago, my grandpa passed away, and as per Spanish law, his property and money would be split between his children, my aunt, AU, my late uncle, and my dad, but none of the money and property could be claimed until all children were present in court. This left my lovely grandma a lot of debt. My dad and my aunt agreed to sign over their portions to grandma in exchange for all the love and care they received as children. AU refusing to sign over his share or even show up to claim his part, meaning for a good while my grandma was left with no money, no claim to her house, and with a lot of health issues that she couldn't sort. She lost her car, her phone, and a good few months in the hospital left her with some issues. She'd contracted meningitis, which temporarily messed with her memory. I lost my crap with AU and started studying some Spanish law books, getting my aunt to translate what she could, and we didn't tell anyone about our plan. About a year ago, I presented a case to the family lawyer that due to his selfishness and arrogance, Grandma got sick, therefore meaning he caused her harm, and then he intentionally continued to withhold this money from her even though he knew she needed it for the hospital. AU got ugly at this point and started screaming about how I was trying to get him to go to jail and "I don't care if she dies, I want my money" were the words that followed. Thank you, phones, for having a record setting. This voice clip was presented to the police along with proof of him failing to collect his part of the will. What followed suit was a court case for him to pay all the money for what my grandma had lost in medical, and he had to pay a large chunk of the debt she was in, or else he would face jail time. He didn't pay. He took his son to Disney instead. 18 months, I believe, he got in the end. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.